Captain Ju Park sat in the cockpit of her fighter jet, hands steady on the controls as she navigated through the narrow mountain pass. The morning sun cast long shadows across the jagged peaks. This was her third patrol this week, a routine mission to monitor the border region. She glanced at her instruments, confirming her position. The mountains below were a maze of rocky outcrops and hidden valleys, places satellites couldn't always scan effectively. That's why they still sent pilots like her on these runs. "Beautiful day up here," she murmured to herself, banking the jet slightly to follow the natural curve of the valley. Her radio crackled. "Falcon 1, this is Command. How's visibility today?" "Clear skies." "Command. Nothing unusual to report." Ju adjusted her oxygen mask and checked her fuel levels. "I should complete the patrol route in approximately 40 minutes. As she guided the jet around a particularly steep mountain face, something strange happened. Her navigation display flickered once, then twice. The compass began to spin erratically. Ju frowned. Her jet was the military's newest model, equipped with state-of-the-art systems that rarely failed. She tapped the display, but the flickering continued. "Command, I'm experiencing unusual equipment malfunctions," she reported, keeping her voice calm despite her growing concern. There was a moment of static before the response came through. "Return to base, Captain Park. Don't take any chances." She began to turn the aircraft when a sharp warning tone filled her cockpit. The engine diagnostics flashed red. "Command, I'm losing power," she said, fighting to keep the aircraft stable as it shuddered. "Engine failure imminent." "Copy that, Captain. Can you reach the emergency landing zone at Sector 7? Ju quickly calculated her position and glanced at her rapidly declining altitude. "Negative. I need to put down now." Her training took over as the engines died completely. The sudden silence was almost as jarring as the warning alarms. The fighter jet became a very expensive glider, and Ju searched desperately for any flat surface among the rocky terrain below. A small plateau appeared between two ridge lines. It wasn't ideal, but it was her only option. "Command, attempting emergency landing. Coordinates as follows." She rattled off her position as she lined up her approach, fighting the controls to keep the aircraft level. The impact. Before she could decide, a section of the rock face slid aside with mechanical precision, revealing a dark opening where solid stone had been moments before. The rumbling stopped, leaving an eerie silence broken only by the pattering of rain. Cautiously, Ju approached the opening. A faint blue light emanated from within, illuminating what appeared to be a metallic corridor stretching into the mountain. The walls were smooth, made of some material she couldn't identify. Not quite metal, not quite stone, with a faint iridescent quality that seemed to shift as she moved. "This isn't possible," she said aloud, her voice echoing slightly in the passage. Military training told her to retreat, report, and wait for backup. But her communications were down. Night was approaching. The storm was intensifying, and the passage offered shelter. Plus, there was the undeniable pull of curiosity. Ju switched on her flashlight and stepped inside. The temperature was noticeably warmer here, the air dry and faintly charged, like the atmosphere before a lightning strike. The corridor curved gently downward, leading deeper into the mountain. After about 20 meters, the passage opened into a vast chamber that stole her breath away. Her flashlight beam couldn't reach the far walls or ceiling, but it revealed enough to understand she was standing inside something extraordinary. At the center of the chamber sat what could only be described as a spacecraft, sleek, oval-shaped, approximately 60 meters long, hovering slightly above the ground without any visible means of support. Its surface was dark and reflective, covered in the same geometric patterns she'd seen outside, but these glowed with a faint blue light. Around the ship were stations with curved, transparent surfaces that resembled control panels. None of it looked human. The technology appeared both ancient and impossibly advanced. Ju approached slowly, weapon drawn more from instinct than any belief it would be effective against whatever built this place. As she neared the ship, sections of its surface began to illuminate, as if responding to her presence. A panel on the side of the craft slid open silently, revealing an entrance. Blue light spilled out, casting Jiwoo's shadow long behind her. She stood motionless, facing a decision that felt monumentally important. Step inside and potentially discover something that would change humanity's understanding of the universe, or retreat to safety and the known world. Thunder rumbled outside, as if urging her forward. With a deep breath, Captain Jiwoo Park stepped toward the entrance of the alien craft, crossing a threshold that would forever alter the course of human history. Jiwoo stepped through the entrance of the alien craft, her boots making no sound on the smooth floor. The interior was larger than she expected, with curved walls that seemed to glow with a soft blue light that had no visible source. The air felt different inside, fresher somehow, as if purified. "Hello," she called out, her voice echoing slightly. No response came. As she moved deeper into the vessel, panels along the walls brightened when she passed them. She noticed there were no sharp edges anywhere. Everything curved and flowed naturally, unlike the angular military aircraft she was used to piloting. In what appeared to be the central chamber, Jiwoo found a raised platform with several console-like structures arranged in a half circle. They had no buttons or switches that she could see, just smooth, slightly transparent surfaces with symbols that occasionally pulsed with light. "This is impossible," she whispered, reaching out hesitantly toward one of the glowing consoles. When her fingertips touched the surface, the world around her seemed to dissolve. Images flooded her mind, not like watching a screen, but as if memories were being poured directly into her consciousness. She saw beings tall and slender, with silvery skin and large eyes, traveling between stars and ships like the one she stood in. She watched them arrive at a primitive Earth, studying the early humans with curious interest. Jiwoo gasped and pulled her hand back, breaking the connection. The images vanished instantly. "Did I just see aliens?" she said to the empty room, heart racing. "We prefer the term elders," came a response that seemed to originate inside her head, rather than from any speaker. Jiwoo spun around, drawing her sidearm. "Who's there?" No one was visible, but the central console began to glow more intensely. "I am Keeper, guardian of this vessel," the voice continued in her mind. "There is no need for weapons here. You are welcome, compatible one." Lowering her gun but not holstering it, Jiwoo asked, "What is this place? How are you speaking to me without sound?" The blue light pulsed gently around her. "This is a seed ship of the Elders. I am communicating through low-level neural interface, a simple connection with your mind. Your genetic structure contains the marker gene, allowing this interaction." "Marker gene? I don't understand." "Your ancestors were selected, modified. You carry genetic markers that make you compatible with our technology." The voice paused. "You are the first to activate our systems in 12,000 years." Jiwoo tried to process this information. "You're saying aliens, these elders, visited Earth thousands of years ago and changed human DNA. My DNA." A simplified explanation, but essentially correct. "The elders saw potential in your species." Before Jiwoo could ask another question, the central console flashed brightly. A sensation like cool water flowing into her mind overwhelmed her, and she dropped to her knees. Knowledge began to cascade through her consciousness. Technical schematics for interstellar travel, star maps of systems she'd never heard of, the language and history of the elder civilization. "What's happening to me?" she gasped, clutching her head. "A neural link is being established," Keeper explained calmly. "The process can be overwhelming initially. Your mind will adapt." Images continued to flow. A great civilization spanning thousands of worlds, advanced technologies beyond human understanding, and then something darker. A conflict. Worlds burning. The elders fleeing, hiding their legacy in various places across the galaxy, including Earth. "Why me?" Jiwoo managed to ask as the flood of information began to slow. Your specific genetic sequence has the highest compatibility rating this vessel has detected. You were meant to find us." As her mind settled, Ju stood shakily. Everything around her now seemed different, familiar somehow. She could sense the ship's systems, understand its purpose and capabilities in ways that should have been impossible. The ship was waiting, she realized. All this time, just waiting for someone like me to find it. Correct. This vessel contains knowledge and technology that your species is now ready to receive. And what exactly am I supposed to do with all this? Ju asked, gesturing around her. That decision belongs to you, compatible one. The elders believed in choice. Outside the mountain, the storm had intensified. Rain lashed the rugged landscape, obscuring the crash site of Ju's fighter jet from immediate view. But high above, military satellites had detected the enormous energy surge that had emanated from the mountain when the ship fully activated. In an underground command center thousands of kilometers away, General Minho Lee stared at the energy readings on the screen before him. Technicians worked frantically at their stations. "Sir, we've never seen readings like these before," reported one analyst. "The energy signature doesn't match any known technology." "What about radiation? Nuclear signatures?" the general asked. "None detected, sir. It's something else entirely. And there's more. The surge pattern matches 7 previously unexplained anomalies recorded over the past century in different locations worldwide." General Lee's expression darkened. "What do we know about that region?" Captain Park was conducting a routine patrol flight when she reported equipment malfunctions. "Then we lost contact. Search and rescue hasn't launched yet due to the storm. Send in the Special Forces team. Full containment protocols. In this weather, stir. Immediately. Whatever this is, we need to secure it before anyone else does." The general turned to his communications officer. "And maintain absolute secrecy. No one outside this room is to know about these energy readings." Back in the ship, Ju was beginning to understand the magnitude of her discovery. Through the neural link, she could access information about technologies that could solve Earth's greatest challenges: clean energy, disease, even the environmental damage humans had caused. "Keeper, I need to contact my superiors. They need to know about this." "That would be unwise at present," Keeper responded. "The activation of this vessel has likely been detected. Those who come first may not share your intentions." As if to confirm this warning, a notification appeared in Ju's mind. External sensors showing several aircraft approaching despite the dangerous storm conditions. Special forces, she realized. They're coming for the ship. And for you, Keeper added. You are now linked to this vessel. What you know, what you can access, makes you valuable. And potentially a target. Ju felt a chill that had nothing to do with the mountain air. What options do I have? Many. But little time to choose. The link between us will continue to strengthen. Soon, you will be able to fully control this vessel's capabilities. Outside, through the distant howl of the storm, Ju could now hear the approaching thrum of helicopter rotors. A decision point was rapidly approaching, one that would affect not just her future, but potentially that of her entire species. "Show me," she said finally. "Show me everything I need to know." As military forces descended upon the mountain, inside the ancient vessel, Captain Ju Park began to truly understand what it meant to be the first human in 12,000 years to awaken the legacy of the stars. The whirring of helicopter blades grew louder outside the mountain. Ju could sense them through the ship's external sensors. 3 military helicopters carrying special forces teams, all closing in on her position. Humans approach with weapons, Keeper informed Ju, the voice in her mind carrying a note of concern. Defensive protocols activating. A warning flashed through Ju's mind. Images of a protective system engaging. She suddenly understood what was about to happen. "No," Ju shouted, trying to stop the process. "They're my people. They're just scared." But it was too late. The ship hummed, a deep vibration that Ju felt in her bones. A wave of blue energy pulsed outward from the vessel, passing through the mountain itself like it wasn't even there. Through the ship's sensors, Zhu watched in horror as the helicopter suddenly lost power. Their lights went dark. Their engines stopped. For a terrifying moment, they hung in the air before beginning to drop. "They'll crash," she cried out. "Emergency systems have engaged," Keeper responded calmly. "Observe." The falling helicopters slowed their descent as if caught by invisible hands. They settled gently onto the rocky ground, their crews shaken but unharmed. It wasn't just the helicopters. Every piece of electronic equipment within several kilometers had gone dark. Radios, vehicles, the search team's night vision goggles, all dead. "The pulse was non-lethal," Keeper assured her. "But we must complete the awakening protocol." Zhu paced the chamber, struggling with conflicting emotions. "You just attacked my military. My friends could have been in those helicopters." "They were not attacked. They were prevented from attacking us. There is a difference." She ran her hands through her hair in frustration. "You don't understand human nature. They'll just come back with more forces. By then, your choice will need to be made." "What choice? What are you talking about?" The central console pulsed with light, and more information flowed into Zhu's mind. This time, she was ready for it, and the knowledge integrated more smoothly. She saw the ship's true purpose, not just a vessel, but a key, a test, a gift from a dying civilization. The elders had seeded several worlds with their technology, hidden away until the native species evolved enough to find it. Each cache contained different aspects of elder knowledge. This ship held the secrets of interstellar travel and energy manipulation, powers that could elevate humanity to the stars or destroy them if misused. The ship was waiting for someone who would use its power wisely. Zhu whispered as understanding dawned. Yes, the elders believe that character matters more than technology. Many civilizations have destroyed themselves by advancing technologically before they were ready spiritually. Outside, the stranded soldiers were setting up emergency shelters. Some were attempting to climb toward the strange opening in the mountainside. "I need to go out there," Zhu said. "Explain what's happening before this gets worse." "There is little time," Keeper replied, urgency finally entering its voice. "The awakening of this vessel has sent a signal. Others will come." A chill ran down Zhu's spine. "Others? What others?" "Those who hunt the elder legacy. They have detected our activation and will arrive soon." New images filled her mind. Dark ships of jagged design, worlds stripped of resources, civilizations crushed. Hunters who had followed the elders' path across the galaxy, seeking their technology not as a gift, but as a weapon to be seized. "How soon?" Zhu asked, her mouth suddenly dry. "Days, perhaps less." Outside the mountain, General Li sat in a hastily established command tent. Backup forces were already mobilizing, but without working electronics, communications were limited to runners and line-of-sight signaling. "Nothing works within 3 kilometers of the site," reported Major Sunwoo. "Not even simple battery-powered devices. It's like all electrical potential has been neutralized." The general's face was grim. "Any sign of Captain Park?" "No, sir. The team that reached her crash site found the aircraft abandoned. She must have sought shelter from the storm. Or she's in that mountain," the general murmured. "Whatever's in there," it responded when we approached. "It's intelligent." "Sir," Major Sunwoo hesitated. "Some of the men are talking. They say they felt something when that pulse hit. Not just equipment failing, but something in their heads, like a presence brushing against their thoughts." The general frowned. "Keep that quiet. The last thing we need is panic." Inside the ship, Zhu made a decision. "I need to understand everything if I'm going to help. Show me how to control this vessel." "The neural link is not yet complete," Keeper cautioned. "Then complete it." Keeper hesitated. Then the central chamber transformed. The walls seemed to disappear, replaced by a 360-degree view of stars, a map of the galaxy. At the center stood a representation of the ship, and beside it, a glowing figure that Ju recognized as herself. The final integration requires your conscious acceptance, Keeper explained. It cannot be undone. Ju took a deep breath. What happens to me? You remain yourself, but changed, enhanced. The ship's systems become extensions of your will. Your lifespan extends. Your mind expands. And the cost? You can never return to your former life. You become guardian in my place. Outside, the first soldiers had reached the entrance to the chamber. They peered inside, weapons ready despite their lack of functioning electronics. Captain Park, one called out. This is Lieutenant Kim. Are you in there? Ju heard the voice but remained focused on the choice before her. Will I still be human? You will be more, Keeper replied. But your humanity is why you were chosen. It must remain your core. The soldiers were entering the outer corridor now. Minutes remained before they would reach the main chamber. Ju thought of her family, her career, her life on Earth. Then she thought of the hunters coming from the stars, seeking to take this power for themselves. What would happen to Earth if they found it defenseless? I accept, she said firmly. Light enveloped her, flowing into her body like liquid fire. Information, abilities, awareness, all flooding into her consciousness. She felt the ship becoming part of her, its systems responding to her thoughts. She could sense the soldiers approaching, could feel the Earth beneath the mountain, could even detect faint signals from deep space, where something was already changing course, heading toward Earth. When the soldiers burst into the main chamber, weapons raised, they found Captain Ju Park hovering several inches above the floor, surrounded by a nimbus of blue light. The walls of the chamber displayed moving star maps and alien script that shifted and changed continually. Captain Park. Lieutenant Kim lowered his weapon slightly, eyes wide. Ju opened her eyes, which now held tiny flecks of light like captured stars. Tell General Lee to prepare, she said, her voice carrying strange harmonics. Earth needs to be ready. We have visitors coming, and they are not friendly. As if responding to her words, the entire ship began to hum with power. Systems dormant for 12,000 years fully awakened under her control. The true test of humanity was about to begin, and Ju would be the first to face it. In the 3 days since Captain Ju Park had bonded with the alien ship, the world had changed in ways few could have imagined. The first day had been chaos. Military forces from 6 nations surrounded the mountain, bringing increasingly heavy weapons that mysteriously failed to function within 3 kilometers of the site. On the second day, world leaders received the same message simultaneously through every electronic device. I am Captain Ju Park of the Korean Air Force. I have made contact with technology left by an ancient alien civilization called the Elders. Hostile forces are approaching Earth. Stand down your militaries. I can protect us. Few believed her at first, but by the 3rd day, astronomical observations confirmed the impossible. An object traveling at near light speed had entered the solar system and was rapidly decelerating. Inside the mountain, Ju floated in the ship's central chamber, her mind linked to its vast systems. She had barely slept since the bonding, absorbing knowledge at a rate that would have broken most human minds. Now time had run out. They will reach Earth orbit within 6 hours, Keeper's voice informed her. Ju opened her eyes, the tiny stars within them shining brighter. What are my options? The ship is fully operational. You control its systems now. Through their link, Ju assessed the vessel's capabilities. It possessed weapons that could shatter planets, defensive systems beyond human understanding, and engines that could bend space itself. She had power that no human should wield alone. Can this ship fly? She asked, though she already knew the answer. It can do much more than fly, Keeper responded. Ju made her decision. Prepare for launch. Outside the mountain, General Lee stood at the command post, now equipped with newer technology that seemed to function despite the energy field. Beside him was Director Taeyong Kim, recently appointed head of the hastily formed Global Defense Initiative. The object will reach Earth in 5 hours, Director Kim said, looking at the latest satellite data. Nothing we have can stop it. What about the thing in the mountain? General Lee asked. Everyone had become careful about what they called the alien vessel. Captain Park has not responded to communication since yesterday. A young lieutenant ran up to them. Sir, movement detected inside the mountain. The ground began to tremble. Rocks slid down the mountainside as a gap appeared in the stone face. The opening widened, revealing the gleaming hull of the elder ship. It rose slowly, majestically, from its ancient hiding place, hovering silently above the stunned military forces. The vessel was beautiful in daylight, sleek, iridescent, its surface shifting with patterns of light that seemed alive. It hung in the air for a moment, as if giving them time to witness it, before suddenly accelerating upward with impossible speed. My God, Director Kim whispered. She's going to confront them alone. In the control room of the Global Defense Initiative, technicians tracked the elder ship's ascent. It's leaving the atmosphere, velocity exceeding Mach 25. Are we receiving any communications from Captain Park? Negative, sir, but our systems are tracking her biometric signature. She's definitely piloting that craft. The elder ship reached orbit in minutes, then accelerated toward the outer solar system. On screens around the world, people watched as it approached the intruder at speeds no human vessel could achieve. Inside the ship, Ju felt more than saw her course. The controls responded to her thoughts, the vessel becoming an extension of her body. Stars streaked past on the view screens as she raced to intercept the alien vessel before it got too close to Earth. We will intercept in 12 minutes, Keeper informed her. What do we know about them? Ju asked, preparing herself for what was to come. They are called the Krell. They were once peaceful, but generations of war with other species have made them ruthless. They seek elder technology to gain dominance. Will they talk first or attack? Attack. Always. Ju nodded grimly. Then we need to make the first move count. The Krell ship came into visual range, and Ju felt a chill. Where the elder vessel was sleek and beautiful, the Krell craft was angular and predatory, its black hull bristling with weapons. It was larger than her ship, designed for conquest rather than exploration. The moment the Krell detected her, they opened fire. Energy beams lashed out across space, targeting the elder vessel with devastating force. Ju didn't try to evade. Instead, she activated the ship's defensive shields, watching as the enemy fire splashed harmlessly against them. Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields, Keeper informed her. Shall we return fire? Ju considered the weapons at her disposal. The elder ship could reduce the Krell vessel to atoms with a single blast. But that wasn't who she was, not who humanity should be. No, she decided. They're scouts. If we destroy them, their fleet will come in force. We need to send a message. Instead of attacking, Ju accessed deeper systems, drawing on knowledge that had been planted in her mind during the bonding. She shaped an electromagnetic pulse, unlike any ever created by humans, targeted, precise, and powerful enough to penetrate the Krell's shields. The pulse shot forth from the elder ship, a blue wave that enveloped the enemy vessel. Its lights flickered and died. The weapons systems went silent. The Krell ship began to drift, powerless in the void. Their systems are disabled, Keeper confirmed. Life support remains functional. Ju guided her ship closer to the drifting Krell vessel. Using the elder ship's communications array, she sent a message directly to the Krell commander. This is Captain Ju Park of Earth. Your ship is disabled, but your crew is unharmed. Earth is under the protection of the elders now. Return to your people with this message. We do not seek conflict, but we are not defenseless. Choose peace. For long moments, there was no response. Then a visual transmission came through. The Krell commander appeared on Ju's view screen, a tall, gray-skinned being with multiple eyes set in a face that seemed carved from stone. Human. The Krell spoke, its voice translated by the ship's systems. "You control Elder technology. How is this possible?" "I was chosen," Ju replied simply, "just as your people were once chosen before they turned to conquest." The Krell commander's eyes narrowed. "You know our history. I know the Elders offered your ancestors the same gifts they offered humanity. I know you rejected their path of peace." "Peace did not save the Elders from extinction," the Krell responded. "Perhaps not, but their legacy lives on, as you can see." Ju paused. "I'm releasing your ship now. Enough power for you to return home. Tell your leaders what happened here today." As the Krell ship slowly regained power, Ju turned the Elder vessel back toward Earth. She had won this battle without taking a life, but she knew this was only the beginning. The Krell would return, perhaps with allies. Humanity needed to be ready. On Earth, crowds had gathered in cities worldwide, watching the confrontation on screens. When the Krell ship finally turned and began its long journey out of the solar system, cheers erupted across the planet. Director Kim turned to General Lee, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. "What happens now?" The general watched the Elder ship's return trajectory on the monitor. "Now we hope Captain Park still considers herself human." In the quiet aftermath of a crucial mission, Ju Park landed an alien vessel near Global Defense Headquarters. The world stood on the brink of a massive transformation. Director Kim watched her carefully as she stepped out, her eyes filled with urgent knowledge. "They will come back," Ju warned, "but we have time to get ready." Through a mysterious connection called Keeper, she shared an incredible secret with world leaders. Humans were not just ordinary beings. The ancient Elders had long ago mixed their genetic code with early humans, creating a species with hidden powers waiting to be unlocked. The strange ship she brought contained powerful technology that could awaken these sleeping abilities. Ju explained that Earth was a special sanctuary, a hidden refuge chosen by the Elders as their final hope. Every human carried a piece of their legacy deep within their DNA. When she activated the ship's primary protocol, a soft wave of energy spread across the entire planet. It touched every single person, expanding minds and bringing new understanding. Governments debated and discussed the incredible revelation. Scientists were shocked. Military leaders were cautious. But something fundamental was changing in human consciousness. 6 months later, when the hostile alien fleet arrived, they discovered something completely unexpected. Instead of a weak, divided planet, they found a unified Earth with awakened defenders prepared to protect their home. Humans were no longer just inhabitants of a small blue planet, but potential guardians of peace in the vast galaxy. Captain Ju Park stood at the front of humanity's first interstellar defense force. She was not just a leader, but a bridge between humanity's past and its extraordinary future. The Elder legacy would continue, not as conquerors, but as protectors of life and peace across the stars. The universe watched and waited as humanity took its first steps into a much larger, more magnificent story.